Real Madrid are poaching Liverpool's star player. Ibrahima Konate is itching to join the Royal Club, but what'll force the Reds to let him go? Manchester United are chasing after Chelsea's top talent. Liverpool are lining up a blockbuster offer to Newcastle for Isak. The Magpies are reeling. And ALONSO'S first casualties at Real are already lined up. Who's on their way out of Madrid? All that and loads more in today's episode. But before we get into it, as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Ready? Let's jump into the latest transfer rumors. Ibrahima Konate could have been the next big star to be tempted by the gold rush of the Saudi Pro League. Could have, but he wasn't. One of Liverpool's top centre-backs turned down a very lucrative offer from Saudi Arabia and made his stance crystal clear. He's staying in Europe. Why? Simple. He wants Champions League football. And in his mind, there's no better place to get that than a top European club. According to Daily Mirror, one of the leading Saudi clubs approached Konaté's representatives, hoping to test the waters for a possible transfer. But the response they got? Thanks, but no thanks. The Frenchman's priority is clear: stay in Europe and compete at the highest level. But, and here's the twist, it's not all smooth sailing beneath the surface. Konaté's contract at Liverpool runs out in just a year. And from what it looks like, talks over a new deal have hit a dead end. The Reds want to keep him, no doubt about that, but so far, they're getting nowhere. Meanwhile, Real Madrid are lurking. Marca reports that Real are closely watching the situation. They see Konaté as a long-term replacement for Rudiger, a key signing for the future. And here's where things get interesting. Madrid have a plan. Either they snap him up for free in the summer of 2026, or they try to force Liverpool's hand now and get him at a discount. And that's when the calculators come out. Liverpool want 50 million euros for him. Real are only ready to offer 25 million euros, max. That's a massive gap. So the question is, do you cash in now for half the value or risk losing him for nothing in 12 months? Konaté, for his part, is in a decent spot. He does want to stay at Anfield, but only if the club proves they genuinely want to keep him. If not, well, then it might just be time to say hola to La Liga. BERNABÉU's waiting. And now Liverpool are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Sell him now, and you lose one of the best centre-backs in Europe, plus you'll need to find a high-quality replacement fast. Keep him, and you might watch him leave for free. And let's be honest, defenders like Konaté don't exactly grow on trees. Speaking of things you don't find lying around, that's you lot, my loyal viewers. I see the analytics, I know you're watching, but somehow you're not subscribed. What's going on? You waiting for my YouTube contract to run down so you can grab me for free like Real want to do with Konaté? Ain't gonna happen. So let's make a deal. I give you content, you give me a sub. Fair, right? So stay tuned. Konaté's already said no to Saudi, but yes to Europe. Now the only question is, what shirt will he be wearing next season? Marc-André ter Stegen is, sadly, at the heart of some tension over at Barcelona. According to Sport, the German goalkeeper has been training apart from the main group for the last few days, all 3 sessions since the team got back to work. The club keeps insisting it's just minor physical niggles, and there's no official medical report expected. This has raised a few eyebrows, with plenty asking if there's something more going on behind the scenes. Barcelona are firm that the keeper hasn't picked up a serious injury, but it's hard to overlook the wider picture. The club has brought in Joan Garcia, who's shifted the dynamics in the goalkeeping setup. From the outside, it looks pretty obvious that the Blaugranas are starting to look beyond ter Stegen, who's been their number 1 for so many years. Despite all the uncertainty, ter Stegen is standing firm. He's made it clear he's not planning to leave the club this summer. He's got 3 years left on his deal, and he intends to see it through to the end. Barcelona are heading off soon for their Asian tour, and the club wants ter Stegen to travel with the squad, even if he doesn't fully take part in the matches. The coaching staff reckon his presence will send a message of unity and normality, even if he keeps training separately during the trip. Right now, there's no fixed deadline for any decisions. The bosses feel that if ter Stegen does want out, he needs to come out and say it straight. Now, to add a bit of spice, the same source mentions reports from Turkey. Galatasaray have offered him a salary topping his current 8 million euros a year, but only if he leaves Barcelona as a free agent. The Blaugranas would be open to that. Inter and Manchester United are keeping an eye on the situation. Ter Stegen believes Barcelona have deliberately tried to tarnish his reputation, but he's still determined to stay and fulfill his 3-year contract. That said, his agents are watching any interest in their client, just in case he has a rethink before the transfer window shuts. The key motivation is his desire to play regularly, as Ter Stegen is keen to hold on to his place as Germany's top keeper for the World Cup next year. Word is he'd consider a move in January if that's under threat, but not this summer. Real Madrid isn't just a football club, it's an entire universe. A kingdom where, for years, the rules seemed written in stone. But now, it looks like change is coming. And fast. According to the ever-reliable El Chiringuito, and let's be honest, those guys don't throw stuff out lightly. Massive shifts are on the horizon at the BERNABÉU. Forget the old Real Madrid, the superstar holiday resort is over. The word is, a full reset is coming, and leading the revolution, Xabi Alonso. And under him, things are going to be very different. No more untouchable forwards who only show up in attacking phases and take naps when the ball's lost. No more half-hearted tracking back. At Real Madrid 2.0, you've got to press, you've got to defend, or you don't play. Simple as that. Come August, Alonso is ready to lay down the law. He's not afraid to make bold calls, and no name is too big to be benched. High wages, massive following, doesn't matter. Work hard, you play. Don't, you sit. That's the new culture. Spanish media have hinted at tension already. Xabi reportedly isn't happy with some of Madrid's main men. The accusation? They're playing for themselves, not for the team. And under Alonso, that's non-negotiable. Now here's where it gets even spicier. We're talking big personalities. Vinicius Jr., Mbappé, stars not just on the pitch, but brands, egos, characters. And those don't exactly take well to being told what to do. Vinicius, in particular, has never shied away from challenging authority, be it referees or coaches. And Kylian? Let's not kid ourselves, he's not one to quietly blend into the background either. So what we might be heading for? Drama, intrigue, power struggles, straight out of a Netflix series. El Chiringuito even dropped another bombshell, contract talks between Real and Vinicius, completely stalled. Now, the big question. Is this connected to Alonso's vision for the team, or just coincidence? Maybe Vinicius is already sensing the winds of change, and he's not keen. Meanwhile, the Saudi clubs are circling like sharks, with massive offers that Real simply won't match. Al Ahly and Al Hilal are both in the mix. And what if all of this is actually strategic? What if Florentino Perez, who's got a sixth sense for these situations, has decided now's the time to sell? Cash in while Vinicius is at his peak, avoid a potential fallout with Xabi Alonso, and move on. One thing's for sure, Alonso is ready to impose his vision, his way, no compromises. Every new manager wants to shape a team in their image. That's normal. But the question is, at what cost? Because this could turn into a full-on battle of wills. And it's not guaranteed Alonso walks out the winner. Vinicius and Mbappé aren't players who respond well to pressure, and if pushed too hard, they could spark something far more dangerous than a tactical disagreement, a coup in the dressing room. So, is this the start of a stunning new era, or a clash of characters that derails Madrid before it even kicks off? Nicolas Jackson and Alejandro Garnacho, two names that could be at the center of one of the most unexpected swap deals of the summer. Imagine this: Chelsea and Manchester United, two giants always knee-deep in transfer sagas, exchanging forwards. Sounds crazy? Well, maybe not so much. According to the I paper, Manchester United have their eyes on Jackson. Their attack, let's be honest, has been a straight-up disaster, and they're desperate for someone with potential, ideally on the cheap. Meanwhile, Chelsea, they've got a glut of attackers, so they're open to letting the Senegalese forward go, for the right price. As for Garnacho, things are heating up there too. The Argentine has reportedly told United he wants out, and he's now training separately from the squad. Chelsea have been fans of his for a while. They love how he runs at defenders, how fearless he is on the ball. The classic, quick, fiery winger they've been craving. No official bid yet, but sources say it's just a matter of time. At just 21 years old, Garnacho wants to stay in the Premier League or move to a European elite. And the Saudi offers? He's turned them down cold. Now let's talk numbers. United have slapped a £60 million price tag on Garnacho, but are reportedly willing to go down to £50 million. Still, that's pushing it for most clubs, and the pressure's on at Old Trafford. They're looking to offload 5 players training away from the first team: Garnacho, Antony, Rashford, Sancho and Malaysia. Some insiders reckon United might even lower the price more just to make a sale happen. Both clubs would prefer straight cash deals, especially United, because Garnacho is an academy graduate. Any money they get for him goes down as pure profit in FFP terms. That said, a swap deal remains on the table, potentially helping both sides solve their problems without escalating costs. Now, originally, everyone thought Garnacho was Napoli bound. Their sporting director, Giovanni Mana, even met with United last month. But that deal stalled. The problem, yet again, price tags. United are actively monitoring the situation. Chelsea, on the other hand, won't force Jackson out, but he's far from untouchable. As Sky Sports and The Times report, the 24-year-old is on the shortlist at Old Trafford. The Times adds, if he stays, he'll be rotated under Enzo Maresca, but a decent offer could change everything. For the record, Daily Mail recently threw out a £100 million price tag, which is absolute nonsense. Even the most optimistic fans don't buy that. Fabrizio Romano, more grounded as always, mentioned £50 million as a more realistic figure back in June. Now, you might be wondering, what's the logic here? Well, for United, Jackson is a raw but exciting player who could blossom in a new environment. And for Chelsea, Garnacho is the perfect winger. Fast, fearless, with that fiery Argentine edge. Of course, there are risks. Jackson's finishing sometimes makes you question if he's aiming at the goal or the stands. Garnacho, on the other hand, is known to be a bit of a handful. Temper, mood, attitude, all present. But given how both clubs are struggling in key areas, this isn't just a gamble, it's potentially a massive upgrade on both sides. So, fingers crossed, this swap actually happens. It would be fascinating to see how both players adapt in their new colours. And if it doesn't, well then, United are stuck with their attacking headache, and Chelsea continue hoarding forwards like a collector with no shelf space. Alexander Isak is one of the brightest attacking talents in Europe, and it looks like he's facing a major decision about his future. Newcastle are doing everything they can to keep hold of the Swedish striker. But there's one big catch: Liverpool. Reports say the Merseyside club are prepared to make a massive offer, £120 million for Isak. But of course, it's never that straightforward. According to The Times, contract talks between Newcastle and Isak have stalled. The club were ready to offer him a sensational new deal, one that would make him the highest paid player in their history. But so far, no agreement. With 3 years still left on his contract, Isak's agent has already held a meeting with Eddie Howe to talk about the striker's future. And from Newcastle's point of view, it's not looking as optimistic as they'd like. While the Magpies fight to keep hold of their top man, Liverpool aren't wasting any time. In fact, the latest reports claim the Reds are now preparing a new offer: £130 million. I mean, let's be honest, that kind of number doesn't leave Newcastle with many options. Still, they're in no hurry to let their star forward go. After 27 goals last season, Isak has become the central figure in Eddie Howe's attack, and one of the most wanted strikers in all of Europe. Newcastle do want to extend his deal, but they'll have to meet his demands to pull it off. Meanwhile, Liverpool have already held early talks with Newcastle and made their interest loud and clear. They're ready to spend big to bring Isak to Anfield. But here's the key point: Newcastle aren't likely to let him go unless they absolutely have to. If Isak himself starts pushing for a move, then even Eddie Howe and his team might not be able to stop it. For now, they're still working on trying to agree a new deal. Just remember, if Newcastle do decide to sell, they'll also need to find a serious replacement. And that's not something you can take lightly. The real question is, how much are they willing to risk? Do they already have someone in mind to step in if Isak leaves? Because if Liverpool's offer goes through, that decision needs to happen fast. So the Isak saga remains on a knife edge. Who's going to win this transfer battle? Liverpool, with their huge bid, or Newcastle, who are desperate not to lose their best player?